Hi, it's Fishing Sister. Are you planning a trip to Kangaroo Island and you're wondering what the ferry trip over there is going to be like? Well, watch this video. We're going to show you exactly what the ferry trip over to Kangaroo Island is like. We're going to answer all of your questions. We're going to talk to some SeaLink crew. Lisa, sales consultant. Ralf, first mate. Rebecca, bosun. And in the big chair, Kevin, Ferry Master. So let's get started. There's certain things you can't take on Kangaroo Island, and if you've brought any of those things with you, you'll need to throw them in the bins provided. In the terminal at Cape Jervis, you can grab some brochures with some great ideas about things to do while you're over there. You can get yourself a snack, something to drink, and you can also buy some local merchandise and produce from Kangaroo Island. So Lisa, I'm over here to catch the ferry. So what do I do when I get here?
Well, firstly, if you're travelling with a vehicle, you need to just pop your vehicle into lanes 1, 2, 3 or 4 and then just make your way over to the terminal, to the check-in desk, and we will then issue you with your boarding pass. As long as you're not in lane 5, which is our standby lane.
So what about if I've got a trailer on or a caravan or I've got a boat?
In that case, lane 1 and 2 would be the ideal lane, but it really doesn't matter. As long as you're in any one of those 4 lanes, that's fine.
Okay, just driving forward to the left.
Can you put all kinds of vehicles on the boat?
Depending on their sizes, we do have limits. For instance, any large semi-trailers that are above 5 metres high, we can't get them underneath that awning.
That's pretty high.
And also cars that go in underneath are limited to the height and width also, so generally when they're booked, they're just normally standard cars and four-wheel drives, most four-wheel drives, but anything larger than that goes down the centre.
I have to say it was pretty impressive watching the vehicles being loaded. We were lucky enough to come down early and see the ferry that was especially for the semi-trailers early in the morning. It was incredible. There's so much skill involved in it. Yeah, even in getting the regular cars on there was a lot of skill, I thought.
Yeah, and I mean the drivers are pretty good. They're quite regular drivers with the semi-trailers on here.
And what do you do when there's people that are really nervous and they have to reverse on with trailers or caravans or whatever it might be? Some people just really get nervous when there's people watching them and they're reversing and they've got to, you know, get it just in the right bit of space. Do you guys help out with that kind of thing?
Yeah, usually on request, people may ask, particularly with caravans or trailers, whether we can put them on, because we have a lot of experience doing that. You can see that they're having problems. We just suggest that, you know, maybe we have a go at it and they can meet us down on the deck. So they're quite happy to do that most of the time.
So there you go, you don't need to get worried about that kind of thing.
No.
Give it a go, or if you're finding it too difficult, these guys are going to give you a hand. Are people allowed to stay in their cars when they come on the ferry?
No, policy is that people aren't allowed to stay in their cars.
I couldn't think of much worse really than staying down
Yeah.
in a car when you've got all of this to see, all of this beauty. So what if I'm over on the island and I'm not due to come back for a couple of days and then something happens and I've got to rush home? What happens then?
What you can do is just call us and change your booking to an earlier ferry. There's no penalty for that. Or if there's nothing available earlier, you're more than welcome to pop down to the terminal and just go on standby.
Standby? What does that mean?
When you can't get on an earlier ferry, what we do is we pop you on standby, let the master know that you're here, and then you pop into lane 5. It will be towards the end of loading when he will call you on if he has room, but there's no guarantee you'll get on every time, but he's pretty good.
Well, that's good to know, so you don't just get stuck. What about people in wheelchairs, people that have difficulty in that regard?
Well, generally we have wheelchair access up the side of the ramp, and the crew will notify the ropeman that we need a wheelchair, or the office that we have a wheelchair that is needed, and the ropeman will basically help the people in our electronic wheelchair up the ramp and onto the boat.
How long have you been the Ferry Master for, Kevin?
I've been the master for about 5 or 6 years now, but I've been on this boat for over 20.
Over 20 years?
Yep.
Wow, you must really know every bit of this ocean.
I do see there's different stuff every day, whales, dolphins obviously.
Yeah. So what about when the weather's a bit rough?
The safety of our customers, staff and the vessel is the highest priority. On the occasion where the weather is severe, the ferry may be cancelled or delayed, but in saying that, we will get you home. There's no doubt in that at all.
Doesn't sound like it happens very often.
No, it doesn't. No, not at all.
But I've been on the ferry a number of times, and as long as I've taken my quells in advance, it's all good.
Stay to the back of the ferry, get a bit of fresh air. Don't have a coffee before you get on board.
Oops. How long does it take to get over to the island?
In nice weather like a day like today, about 45 minutes.
Yep.
But if it is rough, it could take an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, so there's a bit of variation
Absolutely,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. And like, does wind make a big difference?
Wind and tide, because there's a lot of tide at Cape Jervis. So today there'd be probably 3 knots of tide. So you got yesterday, the wind was coming from the north, the tide was coming from the south, the swell was coming from the south, so it was a bit like waves were coming from all directions. So the boat was really rocky yesterday. But days like today, it's beautiful.
It is fantastic today. What's some of the best things that you've seen? What stands out for you?
I really enjoy the whales and dolphins, and yeah, when they ride along the front of the vessel, that's my favourite thing. Love seeing them.
Pretty special.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The other week we were here and there's a whale just popped out of the water right in front of us. So we sort of pulled the boat back and allowed people to watch the whale go past us.
People pay good money to go on whale watching cruises, and they got it thrown in with their trip over to Kangaroo Island. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, dolphins tend to come up to the front of the boat, and if it's a beautiful day, people are allowed on the bow, and the dolphins will actually come up and they'll go to the bulbous bows on the front. And what the dolphins do is they'll actually flick their tails, and there's a pressure wave behind the bulbous bow, and they'll get pushed along.
Wow.
And the dolphins will fight for that position. You can just watch them. It's quite interesting to see. Yeah.
Wow. So what's your number one tip for people travelling on the ferry?
First of all, to enjoy the crossings, treat it as a bit of an adventure, I guess. Yeah, up in the fresh air is always the best. And if it is a little bit bumpy, make sure you take your jackets off and don't get hot. But majority of the time, it's days like this, so it's good. But yeah, get out in the fresh air and enjoy it from the top deck. That's what I reckon. Look out the window, you never know what you're going to see, whether it's dolphins, fish, whales.
Just the ocean as well.
Absolutely.
It's so beautiful. So what's your number one tip for people catching the ferry?
Don't be afraid to ask the crew for help or advice on places to go and see. There's a lot of times people will ask us about the island and what our suggestions are. Normally there's the magazines downstairs. There's a map in the centre of that, and we'll just mark all the places. Yeah, and enjoy the trip across.
And I've heard, Beck, that you're training to be in the big chair.
That's the plan, yeah. Hopefully one day I'll be driving this vessel. So I've done my Master 5 last year, which allows me to be first mate on board and start learning to drive the vessel under supervision.
Wow. Have you had a go? Have you actually had a go yet? I mean,
have.
we're just enjoying ourselves at the helm, but the captain's very nearby, or should I say the master, is keeping a close eye on us. Have you had a go?
I have, yes. I have been learning, yes.
So you know what all these things do?
Majority, yes.
This is so cool being up here.
Yeah,
so when do you think you might be finished your training?
So I've got to get a lot more sea time up yet, which is just day-to-day experience in the mate position, which will take a little bit of time, but hopefully a couple of years I'll be able to go and do the next course.
Couple of years.
Yeah.
Wow. And how do I make a booking for the ferry?
Oh, that's simple. You can just call SeaLink. You can also drop into our Adelaide office or the Cape Jervis terminal, or you can book online at sealink.com.au.
So Lisa, what would your number one tip be for people catching the ferry?
My number one would be book prior to coming to Cape Jervis or Penashore, and also do a bit of research on the island and have a great time.
Hopefully that's answered all of your questions about what the ferry trip to Kangaroo Island is like. Don't forget to watch all of our fishing videos that we've filmed going all the way around Kangaroo Island. That will help you decide where to fish. This is Fishing Sister saying goodbye.